As with most things in life, anything that has a beginning must have an end. And this is the conclusion of Project Red Mist. Yeah, I know, guys. Project Red Mist has been around the channel for about 2 months now. And it starts to feel like a permanent fixture here in my home. But you know what? This thing has an owner, and it's time for it to go home to its owner. Yeah, this has been my very first build log here on YouTube, and to be honest, I have absolutely no idea how to end it. I mean, it's clean, it's really awesome looking, it's fairly quiet, the water cooling in it's pretty freaking awesome. PC Magazine has requested photos of this build, and it performs really, really well. I mean, what else is there to say? So with that said, guys, I hope to see you in my next... No, I'm just kidding, of course. Now, Project Red Mist, the goal of this... Now, I want to just start by saying Project Red Mist has absolutely nothing practical in it. There is absolutely, positively nothing practical about this build. Now, before you guys start yelling at your monitors and typing in the comment section, you could have probably spent about $3,000 less according to my calculations and gotten very comparable performance if you had gone with... I don't really care, because the point of this build was nothing practical. There's nothing practical about this build. That was never the goal with this build. This build could have been called Project Impracticality, and it would have been perfectly appropriate. The customer wanted something awesome. He's never owned a computer like this. It's rare that he was able to afford something like this, so he went ahead and did it. Now, some of the comments I saw in the past was, wow, this guy must just have money to throw away. Or, well, this guy's got so much money. What does he do? Does he sell drugs? He must be selling drugs. Guys, he works a regular 9 to 5, and he picked up a lot of overtime shifts to pay for this thing. He's a working class man like you and me. So go ahead and throw those comments out the window. If you're just picking up the build log at this point, I suggest you go back to part 1 and start from there. I'm not going to list out all the parts again. I've already done all that in the previous parts. Now, the performance of Project Red Mist was not surprising. I mean, it's two 780 Ti's. They do have 165 megahertz overclock on both of these, so it's pushing up to about 1250 megahertz on the actual cores for the GPU. It's giving me 200 frames per second in Battlefield 4 on a single 1080p monitor. But before you guys start screaming, yes, he is doing 3 monitors, and I believe he was even considering doing 3 120 hertz monitors. So there you go. The CPU performance of 4770K is, well, 4770K. Couldn't get it really stable at 4.5 as much as I wanted, so it's at 4.4. But because we do have that massive 480 rad cooling just the motherboard and the CPU, we are getting about low 60s on 100% load in Prime 95. So when you're gaming and stuff, it's sitting in the 40 degrees Celsius range. Yeah, pretty freaking awesome. Now the 780s are no exception with that massive 560 millimeter rad. It is getting, both of them are getting right around 38 to 40 degrees Celsius full load with the 72 millivolt overclock on there, or overvoltage for overclock, and it's performing really, really well. I mean, Battlefield 4, like I said, 200 frames per second, dipping down to about 170-ish. It's pretty freaking overkill for a single panel. Hopefully he goes with triple panels. He was talking to me about panels that I recommend, so maybe he'll go that route. Now the case, obviously, in this build was very expensive. The Case Labs cases are not cheap, and as configured, this case is about $700. Yeah, like I said, Project Impractical could have been a very practical name. One of the things I think was most fun about this build log was the fact that you guys got to see that things were not perfect in this. I mean, we had some snags along the way. Remember, we had a bad pump. We had to put the project on hold for the pump to get that RM made and replaced, and that's finally up and in there and running. We did decide to go with different tubing halfway through the build, so that delayed things a little bit. And we also got Lutro Customs on board to supply the cables for this towards the end of the build, so we waited for that, which put us back a couple of weeks, which is why it took me about 2 months to do this build. Now, fortunately, the guy is really patient, and he wasn't chomping at the bit to get the computer. At least he wasn't bugging me for it. He knew I was working on it, obviously. You got to see the videos. So he is beyond excited right now to be able to pick this up. He's going to be coming and picking it up tomorrow. And I can't wait to just see his in-person reaction to this build. It is pretty freaking awesome. I didn't do a whole lot of game benchmarks on there because it's his computer, so I didn't load up a bunch of games on this using my accounts. I only did Battlefield 4, and then I pretty much wiped it after that. Now, when it comes to benchmark scores on this, 3D Mark 11, we did get a 21,837 score on 3D Mark. The graphics score on that was a 34,597. Pretty freaking strong. When it comes to Valley benchmark, we did get a 5,628. What's interesting about that is only 28 points faster, or 28 points higher than my dual 780s that are not TIs, with a 3770K. But remember, guys, my 780s are voltage hacked, BIOS hacked, and they are way overvolted. This thing is running at stock volts. My 780s are way overvolted and a massive 1400 megahertz overclock to get those. These achieved the same score, actually a little better score, at 1250 megahertz on the GPU, and no hacking or BIOS hacking or overvolting. So the 780s are pretty strong. Now go ahead and enjoy some glamour shots here, guys, as we bring Project Red Mist to an end. I'm gonna miss it, but I'm gonna be excited to start my build too. But I promised I wasn't gonna cry. Please don't judge me for that. You know, I've got 100 hours into this build. 100 hours. I mean, the custom acrylic panel, all of the acrylic bending and tubing in there, the sleeving. I didn't do the sleeves of the Lutro stuff, but I sleeved some of the other cables, like the pumps and some of the fans and things, and I'm going to miss it. But Project Skunkworks is right around the corner. The 4790K with the Z97 board is going to be going in my build. So go ahead and look forward to that in the future. But I'm not going to do as in-depth of a build log with that, I don't think. I think I'm just going to kind of give you guys some highlights of that. I'm not going to document every single process along the way. It really adds a lot of time to do that. And I can't be down without my main rig that long, because obviously that's how I bring you guys these videos. I mean, I don't shoot them on my iPhone or anything like that. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and just end this video now with some glamour shots here of Project Red Mist. And as always, follow on Twitter and Instagram if you want to see some of the behind the scenes photos of this project in action or in progress. And as always, guys, I will see you in my next video, in my next project.